Our story begins in the year 1479 in Toledo, Spain, with the birth of Juana. She was the third child in the illustrious royal family, daughter to Isabella of Castile and Ferdinand of Aragon. From a young age, Juana displayed remarkable intelligence and beauty, receiving a rigorous education and mastering multiple languages. At the tender age of 17, Juana was married off to Philip I of Burgundy, known as Philip the Handsome. The union was a strategic political alliance meant to strengthen ties between two influential dynasties. In the early years of her marriage to Philip I of Burgundy, Juana's passion for her husband burned brightly. They had children together, including the future King Charles V, and the Castilian court admired the young couple. However, it wasn't long before the cracks in their relationship began to show. Philip was known for his striking looks and charismatic charm, and he reveled in the pleasures of life, including the company of other women. These dalliances with various ladies-in-waiting and courtesans couldn't escape Juana's notice. Her reaction to Philip's infidelity was intense and often dramatic. She was overcome with jealousy and suspicion, which drove her to confront her husband and his lovers openly. This behaviour was considered scandalous and unconventional for a queen of her stature. Juana's passionate outbursts escalated, leading to tumultuous scenes within the royal court. She demanded constant proximity to her husband and was driven to irrational fits of rage if he avoided her or spent time with other women. Contemporary accounts suggest that when Philip didn't visit her chambers, Juana would scream uncontrollably and even resort to self-harm, banging her head against the wall in despair. These highly publicized and tumultuous quarrels between the royal couple became a source of gossip and concern among the nobility. As her jealousy and insecurity deepened, Juana's relationship with Philip became increasingly strained, setting the stage for the dramatic events that followed in Juana's life. The death of her mother, Queen Isabella, in 1504 led Juana to inherit the crowns of Castile and Aragon. However, Isabella's will appointed her father Ferdinand as regent due to concerns about Juana's mental stability. Although rumours of Juana's madness had already begun to spread, she was recognized as queen, but she could not rule, nor did she want to. But her husband Philip announced that he, and not her father Ferdinand, would still be the new queen's regent. Her father and her husband began a power struggle for her throne, which lasted only a year and ended unexpectedly and tragically. After the sudden death of her husband, Philip I of Burgundy, in 1506, Juana found herself in the grip of overwhelming grief and denial. She forbade Philip to be buried, even when she was pregnant with their child. Later, when signs of decomposition could not be ignored, Juana allowed Philip's body to be embalmed, but still did not allow it to be buried. Unable to accept the loss of her beloved, she made a decision that would bewilder and disturb the entire nation. She wanted to bury Philip in Granada, in the family tomb, which meant that the funeral procession would have to travel across the country. The journey began as Juana, accompanied by a retinue of loyal followers and courtiers, set out with Philip's coffin in tow. What made this journey even more unusual was Juana's strict instructions regarding the stops along the way. The procession would only halt at male monasteries, and it moved exclusively during the cover of night. Anyway, but with the coffin, she did not part for 8 months, and all this time forbade other women to even approach the funeral procession. Juana Mad seemed that even dead, her husband is too good and desirable for any female person. As the news of Juana's extraordinary journey spread, it gave rise to a mixture of curiosity, concern, and fear among the Spanish populace. The sight of a queen travelling in the dead of night with her late husband's body was unsettling to many. The country is in turmoil. In January 1507, Juana's daughter Catalina is born, so the cortege with the coffin stops in Torquemada for a couple of months. It was Juana's father who put an end to this mad journey. Ferdinand was forced to come to Castile in July 1507. He placed his daughter in captivity at the fortress of Tordesillas and arranged for the burial of her husband. Catherine was left with her mother because Juana vehemently refused to part with her daughter. Juana believed that her deceased husband was speaking to her through the lips of her daughter. The child grew up in horrifying conditions, close to her deranged mother. Her only amusement was gazing out of the window. Juana refused to bathe, forbade anyone from watching her eat, and never let Catherine out of her sight. In 1516, King Ferdinand passed away, and Juana inherited the crown of Aragon in addition to her other titles. However, her eldest son Charles effectively ruled the country. When he visited his mother in 1525, he was shocked by her mental state. It wasn't until 1525 that Charles took Catherine away from her mother to arrange her marriage to the King of Portugal. Upon Catherine's arrival at the court, many noted her peculiarities, which was not surprising given her upbringing. Juana spent 48 years in captivity, all the while mourning her deceased husband. Despite her suffering, the Queen lived a long life and passed away at the age of 75 in 1555. She remained in history under the name Juana the Mad.